Good evening. I call to order this regular monthly meeting of the Gladstone City Council on Tuesday, January 14th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. The City of Gladstone is abiding by guidelines set forth in House Bill 2560, which requires the governing body of the public body, to the extent reasonably possible, to make all meetings accessible remotely through technological means and provide opportunities for members of the general public to remotely submit oral and written testimony during meetings to the extent in-person oral and written testimony is allowed. Therefore, this meeting will be open to the public, both in person and virtually using the Zoom platform. The Zoom instructions were printed on the agenda of the meeting. If the members of the public would like to comment on an agenda item, either virtually or in person, you were to have emailed your comments or your request to speak to the city recorder prior to noon today. Individuals attending in person may submit a speaker card to the city recorder prior to the beginning of the meeting. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. The City Council will also have Gladstone City event announcements during the meeting and business from the audience at the end of the meeting. To speak during either time, virtually or in person, please, you were again to have emailed us prior to noon today or provide one of these cards at the early stages of the meeting. We will postpone the roll call until after we have sworn in the new city councilors, but let's now stand for the flag salute, please. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, our first item of business tonight is the administration of the oath of office to newly elected and re-elected city councilors. We have 4 of them, and Judge Lindgren is here tonight to administer the oath of office, and I believe the paperwork is down there, and we will go starting numerically. So Maria Mitchell, please come forward.
Oh, I can, simpler. Okay, so I'm gonna stand over here and raise your right hand, please. And repeat after me. I, Maria Mitchell,
I, Maria Mitchell,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of Oregon,
and the state of Oregon,
and the Charter and Municipal Code
and the Charter and the Municipal Code
of the City of Gladstone,
of the City of Gladstone,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
perform the duties
perform the duties
of City Councilor
of City Councilor
for the City of Gladstone,
for the City of Gladstone,
Oregon,
Oregon,
during my entire term,
during my entire term,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. Here and here.
When we swear in police officers at our meeting, this is the point which they get to choose a family member or friend to come and pin the badge on them. We don't have badges on city councilors, but I know there are a lot of family and friends of the people being sworn in tonight here. And so thank you all for coming and supporting your family member or friend on this important occasion. Maria, you may come over and sit with us. Next, re-elected or elected via voting after appointment to the council is Gabrielle Blaug.
Okay, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Gabrielle Blaug,
I, Gabrielle Blaug,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of Oregon,
and the state of Oregon,
and the Charter and Municipal Code
and the Charter and Municipal Code
of the City of Gladstone,
of the City of Gladstone,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
perform the duties of City Councilor
perform the duties of city councillor
for the city of Gladstone, Oregon
for the city of Gladstone, Oregon
during my entire term.
during my entire term.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sign on the dotted line right here and here. Do you want another picture? We're all standing
Thank you
aside.
for your patience.
Next, our next newly elected counselor for seat number 4, Andrew Labonte. Sure.
Okay, raise your right hand. I, Andrew Labonte,
I, Andrew Labonte,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of Oregon,
and the state of Oregon,
and the Charter and Municipal Code of the city of Gladstone,
and the Charter and Municipal Code of the city of Gladstone, Oregon,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
perform the duties of city councillor
perform the duties of city councillor
for the city of Gladstone, Oregon,
for the city of Gladstone, Oregon,
during my entire term.
during my entire term.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. One more here. 2 copies, one for you and one for the city.
Very good.
And last but not least, re-elected to her second 4-year term on the council is Mindy Garlington.
Okay. Step a little closer, you can look too while I do it.
It would have to be way
I know.
closer.
Reading glasses. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Mindy Garlington,
I, Mindy Garlington,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of Oregon,
and the state of Oregon,
and the Charter and Municipal Code
and the Charter and the Municipal Code
of the city of
of
Gladstone,
the city of Gladstone,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my
to
ability,
the best of my ability,
perform the duties of city councillor
perform the duties of city councillor
for the city of Gladstone,
For-
Oregon,
for the city of Gladstone, Oregon,
during my entire term.
during my entire term.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, I'd love to. I think I've made a mess here.
That's all right. I'll take them all.
Thank you, Judge Lindgren. Thank you, voters of Gladstone, for giving us a full city council to start the year. The first item of business tonight is the selection of a council president per section 9 of the Gladstone City Charter. The council president, yeah, let's do the roll call. That's the thing we switched around. So we'll begin with the roll call for the first time.
Counselor Huckabee,
Present.
Counselor Mitchell,
Present.
Counselor Blau,
Here.
Counselor Labonte,
Present.
Counselor Roberts,
Present.
Counselor Garlington,
Present.
Mayor Milch.
Present. All right, now we get to selection of the council president. The council president serves to preside over the meetings in the absence of the mayor. But I have found over the 2 years that I've been mayor that the council president is also someone I can reach out to sometimes, or that feels comfortable enough to come to me and approach me when there are matters that it'd be helpful to have a little feedback and give and take on. So it's an important role. I haven't missed a meeting, so none of the council presidents have ever had the opportunity to substitute for me. But that doesn't mean I'm not grateful for their willingness to hold that role and to serve. So I will accept nominations for council president.
I would like to nominate Counselor Roberts. I feel he brings a strong asset to the role, or brings strong assets to the role. He currently holds the seat. He is now a senior member of the council and would do a really good job should the need arise.
All right, Councilor Roberts is nominated. Councilor Roberts, any response?
I'd like to thank you, Councilor Garlington, and accept your nomination.
All right. Are there other nominations?
I would like to nominate Counselor Huckabee.
Councilor Huckabee is nominated. All right, we have two nominees. Are there any more? Any more nominations? But let's see, the city charter only requires us to do this election each year. Doesn't require that we have the same person or change, and people can continue in this role if they're currently in the role. So any discussion?
I would like to second Vanessa Huckabee's nomination.
Okay, thank you. I don't know that we necessarily required a second on this, but thank you for doing that. Okay. Let's go ahead and call the roll then. Either cast your vote for Councilor Huckabee or Councilor Roberts.
Counselor Garlington,
Counselor Roberts,
Counselor Roberts,
Myself. Thank you.
Counselor Labonte,
Roberts.
Counselor Blaug,
Huckabee.
Counselor Mitchell,
Counselor Huckabee.
Counselor Huckabee,
Myself.
Mayor Milch.
Well, it's up to me. And I think I think I'd like to see just a change from one year to the next. So I will vote for Councilor Huckabee. So Councilor Huckabee is elected council president. And as I tried to emphasize earlier, I have appreciated Councilor Roberts' service in this job as I did Councilor Huckabee's previous service in this job. So, all right. Jackie, are there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
I have none. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, we begin with the consent agenda, which is items that generally are expected to pass without debate. And they include approval of the November 12th, 2024 regular minutes, approval of the November bank balances, budget report for the period ending 11/30/24, approval of the November check register, legal costs for November 2024, department head monthly reports for December 2024, and to consider the renewal of an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Gladstone and Metro to clean up camping sites established by homeless individuals on public property pursuant to the provisions of ORS 190.003-1 to 190.030. Does any counselor wish to pull any item from the consent agenda before consideration? So is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? Tammy, call the roll, please.
Counselor Blaug,
Yes.
Counselor Mitchell,
Yes.
Counselor Huckabee,
Yes.
Counselor Labonte,
Yes.
Counselor Roberts,
Yes.
Counselor Garlington,
yes.
Mayor Milch.
Yes, the consent agenda is approved. Administrator Betts, is there any correspondence to be considered?
I have nothing.
All right. This is the time when we have Gladstone City event announcements. Tammy, do we have anyone requesting to speak to that tonight?
We only have one, Bob Everett.
Dr. Bob, come forward. You know the routine with the microphone. Push the button and it will be on.
Well, you might have to remind me. Good evening, everyone. It's good to be back here this month, and welcome to the congratulations to the new counselors. That's for sure. So, and I always love to see all of your smiling faces, along with Jackie's over there. So, smile, Jackie. Yeah. So, I've got a couple things for this month. Bingo is on Friday night. We didn't have one in December, so hopefully people will be a little anxious to be out on Friday night for some fun and games and food. The weather looks like it's going to be a little bit better than last year because it was freezing last year with ice, so we didn't get a lot of people. So hopefully this year it'll be a little bit better. This year, in January, our club is basically the supporting person. We're going to hold the games ourselves this time around, and we might do that later on a little bit in slower months. So, but because we've learned how to do it a little bit. Next month we're going to have the senior graduate or middle school graduation, and then FOGNAP in March. Also, I will once again talk about the clothes closet. It is a booming business, so to speak. Donations are up tremendously. New people are in all the time. I think I mentioned that last month, but I didn't really know the numbers until the other night. And Becky basically handed out. It's since I've started, it's certainly tripled, almost quadrupled the number of people along with donations. So yeah, the word is getting around, and it looks like we're going to be certainly over at the school for many years. Finally, we are working on the festival. We're just starting. I'm going to be sending out applications for vendors, and we'll be sort of organizing some things. So certainly if anybody has any questions on that, you can address that to myself or Bryce, although we are just at the beginning, but things will get winding up. We did take a hiatus for a few months. Beyond that, it's pretty much what I have. If anybody has any questions or anything else, I'm open to any questions, that's for sure. So.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Bob.
Okay.
Thank you to the Rotary Club.
Okay. And thank you for basically allowing me to come up every month and speak. I really appreciate it. And especially at this time, it means a lot to me. And hopefully I provide some benefit overall. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, the next item on our agenda tonight, this is the meeting when we kind of deal with some of our just internal housekeeping issues, and one of the things we start with is appointments of city councilors to serve as liaisons to some of the boards and agencies of the city, and with other regional connections. So if you turn to section 9 in your meeting agenda, on page 9-2 is a list of the various liaison appointments that could be, with some of the names of current people filled in and some of the names of people and people who are no longer the council, those are blank. At the top of the list, I am still willing to serve as the representative of the city on some of the regional committees with the council. C4, the Water Environmental Services Advisory Committee, the C4 Metro Committee, the Metropolitan Mayors Consortium. So I will appoint myself as the one who would serve there in the mayoral capacity. But I appreciate going to some of those county C4 meetings. Counselor or Commissioner Paul Savas, who lives and serves this area especially, always reminds us that he's been doing this for 14 years and on some of those committees even before that some experience and knowledge gained over the years is very valuable. So I'm hoping that Counselor Garlington will continue to be my my reserve liaison on that. I know you sometimes attend the meetings behind the scenes and keep up on it, and that's important.
I do. I sit back and listen, and it's a lot of new faces this year already.
Yeah,
So
there will be. Yes.
yeah, that was really, I liked how they introduced everybody. But yes, I would be happy to be your second on that again.
Very good. The next on the list is business and civic organizations. The outreach to the community festival, welcoming new businesses, regional economic development, Chamber of Commerce, Clackamas County Tourism Business Alliance. Our staff person, Marcy Jory, is really our big liaison to that. She is someone who, as part of her job, really connects us with those events on a regular basis. But Councilor Sierra Cook helped with that, and she was someone who was in business herself and brought some good experience to that. I am wondering if Councilor Labonte, if that would be something that you would be interested in doing.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Then I will appoint Councilor Labonte to be the primary liaison to the business and civic community. Would someone else like to be considered reserve liaison to that?
I'll volunteer.
Is that Councilor Huckabee? Okay. We'll put Councilor Huckabee as the reserve liaison on the business issue. Councilor Huckabee, you've been a representative to the Gladstone Community Center Advisory Board. Would you like to continue in that capacity?
Absolutely.
All right. Is there another councilor who has an interest in that?
I would be interested in that.
Councilor Blaug, I will put you as the reserve liaison to that. That doesn't mean that both of you can't attend all the meetings, but this is just our system, a primary and now the Park and Recreations Board. We have now a new director of our Public Works Department, who will be the staff representative of that. And who was our liaison to Parks and Recreation most recently?
Veronica Reichel.
Oh, okay. And so when she left, I attended a few
You did,
meetings, but we
yes.
did not permanently appoint someone to that.
Correct.
Okay. Is there a counselor who has an interest in serving as the liaison to the Parks and Recreation Board? They meet generally on the third Monday of the month at 6:30. So it's an evening meeting.
Park Board is second Monday.
Yes, it does say second. I was talking to Jal Duncan, who was taking photographs today about how bad my eyes are going, and this is evidence of it today. So, yes, thank you.
Mayor, the other correction we'll make is that they have changed their meetings to 5:30.
Oh, okay.
So I will also clean that up too as we go through and update this.
I'm not sure if how many, I'd be interested in that. I'm not sure if that's available as being with the business and civic liaison also, but I'd be interested in it.
Well, and I do have you in mind for another committee, because I know you have a strong, you have previous experience and strong personal experience in traffic safety. And I was hoping that you would serve as our liaison to that committee.
Sure, I will do that. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's hold off on Parks and Recreation right now. Councilor Huckabee, you were our Traffic Safety Committee representative before. And is it okay with you if we've assigned you to some other things, but I hope that change is okay for you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Councilor Garlington, you have served as the representative to the Clackamas County Library Board. Several years ago, Clackamas, the city of Gladstone had its own public library, part of the Clackamas system, but 3 years ago, I guess it is, or maybe 4 now, the employees and the operation of that library switched to the county. So there is a Clackamas County Library Board to which we send some representatives, and we have a liaison from the council. Councilor Garlington, you have served there before. Councilor Mitchell.
Mayor Milch.
Yes.
That meeting on here is not correct. It is now the fourth Monday at 5:30.
Okay, so that's another one that we'll try to update too. Did you hear that? The fourth Monday?
Yes, I had that internally, but I asked Counselor Garlington to bring it up tonight.
Thank you. All right. Councilor Garlington, are you interested in continuing as a liaison to the library, or does the timing of the meeting create a problem for you?
So I'm going to give you a short story long.
Yeah.
My heart is at the parks, but I've recently discovered that the parks has a couple of FOGNAP members, as I am also. If you feel like that's a conflict, then I would rather pass on the parks and stay on the library. If you don't feel like it's a conflict, then I could pass on the library to if someone else was interested, and move to parks. So
All right.
I'm going to let you sit on that for a half.
That's helpful. That's helpful information. So let me turn back to Councilor Mitchell. Councilor Mitchell, you are serving as, and let me make sure I understand this, not as just a volunteer, but as an employee to some branches of the Clackamas County Library Coalition. This is the system.
Yes.
And you indicated that you were being interviewed perhaps for a position at Gladstone. Would that be a paid position?
Yes.
Okay. So as much as I appreciate your involvement in libraries, I'm going to make you the reserve liaison in that position. And of course, it's a liaison is not a voting member. So it's not like you would be going there and voting on your own salary or anything like that.
Wait a minute.
But I think it's good to have this background and knowledge, and you will bring to us a different perspective on that than Councilor Garlington would. And Councilor Garlington, you will bring the experience of having done that for a number of years now.
That is a voting position.
Um,
I do vote at those meetings on the budgets, on the things that happen at the library.
Are you there as the appointed Gladstone City representative?
Yeah, I'd have to review. It's a Clackamas County Advisory Board position. I'd have to go back and review the bylaws. But I would caution, if Councilor Mitchell does become an employee, it's probably not in the city's best interest to have her also be the liaison. And I've had this conversation with Maria, so she's aware.
Okay. I wasn't aware until tonight that she was looking at a position at our own library. Well, that doesn't stop you from attending meetings, certainly. All those meetings are open to everyone. But for the time being, since that is potentially an issue, let's resume with Councilor Garlington on the library board representative. Okay. I've spoken with Councilor Roberts. Councilor, you have done an excellent job representing us on the North Clackamas County Water Commission. And you even chaired that commission at your first meeting there, I believe. And you're now vice chair, and you've indicated you would be happy to continue there. And you also mentioned the other water consortium. You have to tell me the name of it, because
The Regional Water Providers Consortium.
Okay, and it would be good to have a liaison there as well, in your opinion. And you would be willing to serve.
Yes.
Very good.
Do those meet?
Quarterly.
Quarterly. Okay.
Their first meeting of the year is February 5th. I've attended those meetings before, just as a bystander, but I would be interested in serving in that role.
Very good. I will appoint you to that. Consider yourself appointed to both of the water related things, with the exception of the Water Environmental Services Board that I'm on.
Indeed.
And some of our other cities do have elected officials who are not the mayor serving on that board, and that would be a possibility in the future. So if it ever becomes too much for me, you're our water guy.
Very good. I appreciate that position.
All right.
May I?
Yes.
Quickly. So are these our final appointments? My understanding is that on February 11th, we'll be making the final choice, or is that what's happening now?
Well, this is what I would like to be able to do. So if we do this now, and people know that this is what we intend to do, we could do them by vote later. If some of these groups have meetings between now and then, people will be able to attend.
Okay.
We could even do it tonight if we can reach agreement on everything tonight.
Thank you.
Okay. I have in the past served as the liaison to the Planning Commission. The funny issue with the Planning Commission is land use decisions that go to the Planning Commission are appealable to the City Council. So it's not appropriate for someone on the City Council to even view or attend a Planning Commission meeting that has a land use application in it, because we don't want to be in the position of having to appeal something and some of us having been through the hearing already and some of us not having seen it. We kind of all want to start in the same place. So while I serve as liaison there, Councilor Levante commented one time recently that I wasn't very many of the meetings, and he didn't know if I was shirking my duties, but it is for that reason. It is because of the conflicts. I often watch the meetings online to see the part of the meeting that didn't have to do with something that was appealable to the City Council. And I often watch the meetings later on after the appeal period had ended to understand some of what the land use process is going forward in Gladstone. That's where we see the beginnings of new developments and new ideas and new buildings. And so I am happy to serve as the liaison to the Planning Commission. And I don't know that we necessarily even need a reserve liaison there. A budget and audit, we don't have liaisons to that because we are all members of the budget committee. Councilor Huckabee and I believe Councilor Blaug as well have been, oh no, this is a different one. Clackamas County Research Justice Study. They submitted a report. Is that group still active? And
I'm not quite sure. They're at the point of holding meetings and discussing the findings from that study as far as action items, and cities will be able to, look into that and see which action items they want to work on.
And is that the group that's meeting next week at Mary's Woods?
No.
No,
That is
that's a
the
different.
Coalition of Communities of Color.
Okay, that's a different one.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for letting me know about that meeting. Well, you and I believe Councilor Blaug have also both served on LEDIC. And tell me what that stands for again.
Leaders for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Council.
Okay. And I
county
assume
level.
both of you want to continue in that role. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And we can add that to the list because I think that is an important thing that fits with our historic council goals. And so, and as far as the research study, justice study, I'll leave your name on here, but we're really not sure where that's going.
Mayor Milch, would you
yes.
like me to change the name of that to the LEDIC group?
Yeah,
And-
that would be fine. That's the one where we can have two representatives.
Okay, and then we'll add Counselor Huckabee and Counselor Blaug.
Yes,
That, okay.
Can I ask a question about that?
yes.
Was Gladstone invited to that table, or are our counselors, did they apply and get appointed to those groups?
The latter.
Okay.
I also have a question.
Yes.
I only ask because that regularly conflicts with a work session, correct? Councilor Huckabee?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Okay. So if you're both on that, would that conflict with being both of you would be at that work session or not at the work session?
We're good at discussing and working together to make sure that we have coverage
Okay.
at both. We also have a good open communication with the leaders of that committee or council. And I think work sessions are also something we're going to be discussing in goal setting later this month.
Okay, I agree. I just want to make sure that we have as many people at work sessions. And so if you are both on that, I have no objection, but I would personally prefer that we still had at least 6 out of 7 or close to that at work sessions.
The way that worked last year, even before Councilor Blaug was here, if there's a super important item, some of our work sessions aren't necessarily high priority items. So if it was, I was here.
Okay.
So.
Okay, cool. And then we can just talk more about that at goal setting is what you're thinking. Perfect. Thank you.
For the past couple of years, I've served as the primary liaison to the Gladstone School District Board, and I continue to attend those meetings. Councilor Roberts, you have been designated the reserve liaison, and I assume you're attending some by video or sometimes in person. Are you interested in continuing in that role?
Yes, thank you.
All right. The Joint Fire Services Oversight Committee. I've been impressed by Councilor Roberts's attention to the personnel and the operations of our fire department in particular. And I know this is an issue that will occupy some time on our agenda during this coming year, because we, perhaps will be giving consideration and giving the public consideration of a different relationship with Clackamas County Fire. So Councilor Roberts, would you be willing to serve as my liaison to the Fire Services Oversight Committee?
Yes, continuing with Mindy.
All right. And Councilor Garlington, you want to continue there?
I do.
Okay. So I think
Thank
we have gotten pretty much everything. Going back to parks. Councilor Garlington, I appreciate you bringing up the issue concerned about perhaps a little heavy on the FOGNAP connection.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where with conflict, it's not a conflict of interest to you personally, but the perception of some kind of conflict can often be something that is off-putting to the public.
Yes, and if there was somebody up here that had a spot down at Meldrum Bar at the Gardens, that would be another perfect person, because you're firsthand right there. You have a vested interest in that, in one of the parks somehow. That I would, I'd like to see something like that also.
All
But
right.
I understand we just have to find somebody that's willing to. It's a big commitment. They do a lot of work, and they need somebody that can work with them and answer questions and help work with our new public works director and our administrator and keep those parks moving.
Well, all these liaisons, it's important to keep the lines of communication open between the councils and the advisory boards.
Well said.
So let me put it to council members. Are any of you, do have a strong interest perhaps in being the liaison to the Parks Board?
Yeah, that would be interesting to me. I love gardening, so I'm hoping to get more involved.
And you live right across the street from a
I
couple of
do.
parks.
I sure do.
So you have not a vested interest, but certainly a close. All right. So I will appoint Councilor Blaug as the primary liaison to Parks and Recreation.
And I would offer to be a second on that.
That would be fine. Okay. I think we have filled in pretty much every box, would you say?
Do we have one counselor without an assignment?
Yes.
Councilor Mitchell, I had you as kind of maybe on the library. Was there an area where you were interested?
I have a few clarifying questions.
Sure.
Can you turn on your?
I have a few clarifying questions about the library that I was hoping to talk to staff about, unless a decision needs to happen tonight. And then my other areas of interest was the Clackamas County Research Justice Study and the fire and school boards. But
And the school board as well? Okay.
Mayor, I'm happy to toss the school board reserve position to Councilor Mitchell.
All right.
Taking on 2 additional assignments, although I understand they both meet quarterly. But each of those involvements through my commitment to water, I'll also often attend Oak Lodge, Sunrise. I was already attending Clackamas River Water. And so the ones you see on paper, they kind of branch and root deeper than that. And so I'm happy to give up a meeting.
All right.
So that everyone has something.
Then I will appoint you as our reserve liaison to the Gladstone School District Board. And that is another one where, this will be an interesting year for them as well in their relationship to the city and facilities, and someone with library experience and having a new library in our community. I think you would work out very well there. So So does it feel like now we've kind of filled everything in?
Couple comments,
Okay,
because I also didn't know we were appointing tonight, but if you guys make a decision, that's fine. I don't want to preclude Counselor Mitchell from being on library just because there's a potential that she could become an employee. So I would like to reserve the right to review the Clackamas County Advisory Board bylaws to determine whether they are a voting member or not. But if that allows her to be the liaison, then that would have Counselor Garlington maybe go to Parks. And I want to make sure that Counselor Blaug would be okay with that. So those are the kinds of things I would like to work through before we finalize everything.
all right. There are enough unanswered questions that I think that would be a good procedure. And that was the initial plan, was to wait until February 11th. I wasn't sure tonight whether we'd have a lot of conflict, and I want this and struggle, but it looks like most of it is pretty smooth. But I'm glad to allow you to clarify those issues, and then we can come back in February and finalize things. Again, most of these meetings are public meetings. Any of you are welcome to attend. If you're there just as an individual, make it clear you're there as an individual, not necessarily representing the council, because we don't take positions on everything that these groups deal with. But I think we've made good progress on this for tonight. Thank you, Administrator Betts, for that.
So may I have clarification?
Yes.
So if in fact we're not making the appointments, the official appointments this evening, for liaisons that are likely on a particular board, I assume that we should be attending any meeting that might come up between now and February 11th. To act as an acting liaison, or
Yeah, I think that was the point I was making. I
gotta apologize. I'm getting a cramp. Oh, Lord, that's kind of embarrassing. All right, we're good. Sorry about that.
Yes, as I said, you're welcome to attend any meeting, and you could say that you were there because you're being considered to be the liaison and wanting to get up to speed. That's fine. That's fine. All right. The next item is we don't always do like a state of the city report, but we do have a report for the 2023 and 2024 report to the community from our city administrator. And Administrator Betts, we're happy to hear that from you.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I have shared all of this with you, but we wanted to put it into the council packet. It's also going into the utility bills because the last 2 years in Gladstone, we've made some great progress on projects. And so you will highlight, it's really called a snapshot because we have many more goals that the council adopted. You're going to get a year-end report at our council goal setting session, but we just wanted to highlight the visible projects that people can see in the community that have happened in the last 2 years. So didn't really want to go into detail except to make sure that it's in a published packet and available on the website to people.
I just had a notice that there's a misspelling or a typo on 10-2. Under the Evergreen Storm line, relocated the outfall from should be PIPE instead of PIP.
Well, I know from just following comments on social media in the community, sometimes people are not as well informed about what's going on in Gladstone as we would like them to be. Sometimes they're critical of the city, thinking we're not doing as much as they want us to be doing. And a report like this really helps to inform the public of the wide scope of things that are happening, that are visible, that are sometimes not so visible. And I appreciate staff for preparing this report and for getting it out to the public through our utility bills. And we look forward to continuing many of these projects that are not yet concluded, that are ongoing, and to pursuing some of the additional goals that will emerge from our goal setting session coming up, which leads us to our next item.
Yes, so tomorrow we will publish the agenda for the city council work session, city council goal setting session. It's going to be on January 24th and 25th. It will start at 4 p.m. the first night and go to 7:30 p.m. And then the second day it will be from 8:45 to 2:30 p.m. It will be in this room. It will be informal. You will have 10 members of your management team with you, and our city attorney, Chad Jacobs, will also be joining us. We've hired the same facilitator that we had 2 years ago to do this. Management met with her today. We are ready to go. We're very excited to work with all of you. And I know all of you have met with the facilitator as well to offer your input. So tomorrow, when you get your agenda, you will also get the work plans that your boards, committees, and commissions have worked very hard on to show you where their priorities will be for the next 2 years. And why that's important is because as you go through your consensus building for prioritizing goals, you also need to know that we're going to start our budget process this week for the next biennium budget. And all of you will be on the budget committee. So as you identify and adopt goals, we'll want to make sure that we're also putting resources to accomplish that goals. So we're very excited about the goal setting. Just wanted to make sure that you knew that tomorrow you'll get an email from us saying the packet is ready. And we look forward to seeing all of you on the 24th.
Councillor Mitchell, you had a question?
Can I have you repeat those times, Jackie, just because I find 2 different times listed in our packet on the staff report page and then on the schedule for the year. They're different times.
Yes, so it was changed to the staff report is the correct one. It ends at 2:30 on Saturday. Starts at 8:45. So what is in my staff report on -11-1 is correct.
Thank you for that clarification. Any other questions or comments? So we will set some goals. We will have some desired outcomes and develop a budget to support the goals that reach those, that lead to those outcomes. And that's the way a city operates. And we do this as a team with the staff, the department heads who have already met and will be coming and sharing their perspective on things, and that will help shape the way we move forward for the year. So it's an exciting process. Those of us who were a part of it 2 years ago, I think found it very helpful, and I look forward to going through this again and taking that next step forward. All right. Is there any business carried forward for tonight that we need to deal with?
I had a couple things I just wanted to share with the council. Given what's been happening globally, we've all seen the fires in Southern California. And whenever there's a catastrophe that happens at the global national level, I try to view it through the lens of what are we going to get asked from our Gladstone residents? And we've had two. We had the New Orleans individual who went through the barricades and killed people during an event. And after that happened, Chief Schmerber and I sat down and we talked about, because we have a street closure process, are we providing a safety barriers for people that want to participate? Clackamas Fire recommends certain types of barriers for our street closure permits. So I wanted to reassure you that we have those conversations internally when something nationally happens. The other one is in relation to the fire hydrants not working in LA. And I wanted to reassure you that Clackamas Fire District flushed all of our fire hydrants. We have 330 of them in the city. And they did this in October of last year. That's another benefit of having them being part of our city and providing services. So we flush our hydrants, and we're also doing some inspections on them to try and improve our ISO rating, which has to do with insurance coverage, which is another big issue down in LA with people not having insurance or being able to get coverage. So I just wanted to reassure you and the community that we take these things very seriously, even though we're a very small community. And if there's any other information that you need to be reassured, then please let me know.
I want to add something. I saw something online that I wanted to bring regarding the fire preparation issue. When Councillor Sierra Cook served with us, they recommended a couple of times that we read or familiarize ourselves with the organization called Strong Towns. And Charles Marone is the leader of that group. And he wrote something recently. Why did the hydrants run dry? Was it incompetence, mismanagement, a conspiracy? I've heard all of these reasons and more put forth over the past few days. The simple answer is because we don't engineer municipal water systems to battle forest fires. It's just not feasible, even if we wanted to, even if Southern California wasn't a desert with windswept hills. The amount of storage, the volume of water would be 100 times or more what is currently has been built. The pipes would have to be massively upsized throughout the entire system. The sheer force of this flow would require all manner of bracing and support. This would be one of the largest public works projects undertaken, if not the largest. And it's not clear you could even procure enough water to store it. It is a desert, talking about Southern California. And if we built that, the system wouldn't really work for regular water usage. You wouldn't have enough turnover in the system, and so water in the pipe would go stale. The disinfection would run out before it could be used. You would probably need a separate system entirely for normal use. People suggesting that somehow the municipal water system failed here, even if they say things like Strongtown was right, don't know what they're talking about. There is no municipal water system in the world that can handle 2 days of this, let alone as long as it has gone on. So, sometimes we look out on social media and people jump to conclusions, and then we think, I do the same thing. I reflect, what if Gladstone had this? We were talking recently about the need for a second water tower reservoir in our community. Do we really need that for fire? Would it help us if this happened? So this kind of knowledge and information, I think is helpful, puts things in a little bit better perspective for us and helps us to understand. But I am grateful that our own staff and our brand new public works director are thinking about these issues, reflecting on them, and seeing how they apply to Gladstone. So I'm grateful for that information. Yes, Councillor Garlington.
So a couple of years ago, I took a class at the then senior center, now the community center, on just this type of thing. I can't remember. I believe it was someone from the Red Cross that came and kept it real simple. But if there's a fire, here's what you can do. How is your house set up? That kind of thing. Maybe if it made people feel better, we could offer that class again. And maybe even bring in somebody from the fire department to discuss just this sort of thing that could possibly put people's minds at ease and or make people aware of what they need to do in order to make their own home and family safe. Just a thought.
I appreciate that suggestion. All right. This is the time where we have business from the audience. Tammy, did we have anyone request to speak this evening?
We have not received any.
All right. Then we will move on to business from the council. And let me see. Well, we'll just go from 1 to 6 down the line. So we'll start with Councillor Huckabee. Did you have anything you'd like to share tonight?
Yes, thank you. First off, I just want to say thank you to Administrator Betts and all of the staff and department heads for putting this report together. Not only is it beneficial to our community members, but it's also beneficial to us. We move through the year so quickly, and sometimes we forget what we accomplished in March come December. So I really appreciate this. This is a lot of great work and a great summary of what we have accomplished. Also, I want to share a reminder. I know we sent it out via email to City Council on the 28th. The Coalition for Communities of Color is going to be holding a work session titled Cultivating Belonging, Taking Action, which again is the action items from the research justice study project that they did. It's going to be at Mary Woods in Lake Oswego from 5:30 to 7:30. I would highly encourage our counselors to attend. You can even go to via Zoom if you'd like to get a little more understanding about what this study was and also how it relates to LEDIC. I think there's a lot of good education that would be beneficial there.
All right. Thank you. Councillor Mitchell.
I have nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Blaug.
I also have nothing.
All right. Councillor Levante.
Sure. I'd briefly just like to acknowledge how much of an honor and a privilege it is to serve on city council, and my appreciation to the citizens of Gladstone for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Roberts.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't know how to say this without sounding like braggy or like I'm doing so much. I just wanted to point to some of the things I did in 2024, some of the meetings I got to attend and places I got to go, just to kind of be thankful for this opportunity. I really like going out and meeting with other community leaders, staff people all across the county. So last year I attended meetings for the North Clackamas County Water Commission, Oak Lodge Water, Sunrise Water, Regional Waters Providers Consortium, Clackamas Fire, School Board Budget Committee, and the Oregon City Business Alliance, the Clackamas City Centers, all of those as well. But those were ones that I regularly attended, as well as I got to tour water treatment facilities in Canby, Estacada, Clackamas, Gladstone, and Lake Oswego. And I wrote Canby down incorrectly. That's coming up. I also got to do ride-alongs with Clackamas Fire, a number of different police agencies across the county. And I really am thankful for where we live. We're seated in a beautiful county. I'll leave it at that. Our city here is great. Gladstone is truly better off than a number of the other cities, even within our own county. And I can say that very plainly and not make any bones about it. Very proud of that, very proud to live here. Very proud to have our city administrator. We have fantastic leadership here. So I had a great 2024. It was excellent to be out there engaging, involved in the community that we live in. So I wanted to thank everyone for that opportunity to go do that. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Councilor Garlington.
Wow.
You went to as many.
Wow. So I didn't stand up during announcements from the audio or for events for the city, but April 26th, 2025 will be the Arbor Day plant sale at the Nature Park. So we're going to start working on that real soon. We hope to see everyone's smiling face there and hope that everybody brings big wagons to take home lots of plants. And we're going to have hopefully a few more people from the city that come in and maybe want to just have their own booth and do their own thing. We haven't done that since before COVID. So, you know, everything takes a little bit longer to get things done, but we're moving that way. January 28th is also City Day at the Capitol, which there will be quite a few of us attending that. And for me, that will be my official first time leading the League of Oregon Cities Women's Caucus as their 2025 president. So I'm really excited for that appointment this year. There are so many wonderful, wonderful people that attend that meeting that have helped me as a counselor in my last 4 years. So I'm super excited to be leading that group. I know that 2 of our counselors were able to sit in on that meeting, although we lost power. We were in Bend. Yes, because next time we're in North Bend, but we were in Bend. So our group will be meeting for breakfast if you ladies would like to join us. That is at 7:15 in the morning, but I think it'll be a really good day.
I don't think their driver will get them there in time for breakfast.
Does your driver provide breakfast? And I too would second what Councilor Roberts has said. 2024 was a really good year. I feel like we just accomplished so much in Gladstone. I know that our report says 23 and 24, but you know, it's easy to forget everything that's happened and things that we're so grateful to our administration for us basically saying, yes, do it. And then miraculously it gets done. So that, that gratitude goes very, very deep from me. Truly it does. I think that we have done a remarkable job here on this dais. I think that we have shown the people of Gladstone that we are vested 100% in what's important to them. So I thank all of you and those that have gone before us in what moves, what we've done each and every year to make everything happen. And now this last couple of years, we've really gotten a lot done. So it's just really awesome to be a part of that. Thank you, everyone. Really, thank you.
Well, thank you to all of you for the things you do sort of, or will be doing in the future that are sort of outside sitting up here as a city councilor. And I will underscore what has been said. Those are the opportunities where you really learn a lot more. You put your own city in perspective compared to others. I know that those of you who've been involved in League of Cities, Oregon League of Cities, have met people from cities across the state, some of that are much smaller, some that are larger, some that have significant budget issues that we don't have, some that maybe are better off in some ways, but it really helps us to understand and put our own issues in perspective when we can see that the issues that other cities face. So I am grateful for those of you who represent us or just go and come back and learn from those things, because collectively we do well because of that. I've been serving on C4. One of the things that I was sort of surprised when I think the thing that was the biggest surprise when I was elected to the city council was how much local city government officials have a connection and responsibility with the legislative process of the state. The tolling issue was the real big thing that got a lot of us involved, and it excited a lot of people. So there was a lot going on because of that. But there are numerous issues, and housing is one of them, that at the state level, they really depend on input from cities, and for the cities to implement the changes that need to be made to address those issues effectively. So I hope you will find that those of you that are attending the legislative day and have an opportunity to talk to officials, that will be productive for you, and that you help to form some relationships that we can go back and forth on these things. They can hear from us, we can hear from them. I'm attending a meeting later on, I think it's this week, the 15th maybe. Is that tomorrow? Yes. With some of our local legislators, a team of them from this region, to look at primarily education-related issues, and including PERS and the education budget and some of those other things that affect our schools. So that's an important part of what we do, is making sure that at the state level, we provide the input through our citizens and through our elected officials to help the state set its goals as well. I want to say sometimes people look at Gladstone and it's described as, some people see it as a small town, some people as a city, some people still think of it as pretty rural, although I think there's very few of those anymore. I was reading the cover story for this month's Atlantic Monthly magazine is called The Antisocial Century by Derek Thompson. And he writes about changes that have been documented by these studies they do of how people spend their time. And what it's showing is that people are spending many, many more hours of their day basically alone, not connecting with other people. There was a book written about 25 years ago called Bowling Alone, about a man who made the observation that back in the 50s and 60s, people went to church, they belonged to social groups in their community, they dined out with their friends several times, they bowled in leagues with big groups of people that they knew. And over the last part of the 20th century, that stopped happening. And as he's done research, it's shown that it's happening even less now. But it occurs to me that if there's any place in a community where people can begin to develop the kind of relationships that sort of reverse that trend of spending your time sitting home alone watching TV instead of connecting, Gladstone is one of the places that potentially that could happen. We see our community as a tight-knit place, a small town atmosphere. Different people make the contrast between us and Portland or other big cities. And the social infrastructure of a brand new library and newly planned restaurants coming. It's not something that we normally see as a city council goal, but boy, I'd sure like to think that Gladstone can spend a little more time on the social development of its citizens and its community, and see that what we do in planning our buildings, our programs, our outreach to the city can help reverse that trend that Mr. Thompson has described in this article. So I'm going to continue reading and studying about that and kind of looking at what we do in the city through that lens. But I too, like Councilor Roberts, see a lot of potential in Gladstone for changing the lives of people in a very positive way. I think we do it because we have a great staff and have had great elected leaders and citizens who care about one another. We saw the positive response to our own wildfire situation and freezing weather situation a couple of years ago. That's the kind of community we live in, and that's the kind of community that it is a pleasure to serve. So it will be a pleasure to serve with all of you this coming year and next year. And Chad Jacobs, thank you for joining us tonight. We didn't have a lot in the way of legal questions, but I appreciate your smiling face and the knowledge that you share and the strength of your background that you bring to our community. It helps us, and there will be nights when we will call on you much more than we did tonight. So,
Mayor, can I share an example of how important our relationship building is with individuals we meet through the League of Oregon Cities? Recently, Lincoln County had a widespread bias incident where basically a piece of hate mail was sent to the majority of their elected officials, which is a small rural beach, kind of county. I was able, through the relationships that I have made through the LOC, reach out to some of them and say, hey, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this. We are up here, unfortunately, but the Oregon Department of Justice has a bias hotline and a website in which you can go and you can pull data. You can pull a community toolkit to how to address this. And my training and knowledge for that website actually came from LEDIC. So they're just so everything is trickled down, and what we learn, we can even spread beyond our community. And I just think it's great.
Very good. All right. I think that's what we have for tonight. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved by Councilor Labonte, seconded by Councilor Huckabee. Tammy, will you call the roll, please?
Councilor Roberts,
Yes.
Councilor Labonte,
Yes.
Councilor Blaug,
Yes.
Councilor Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilor Huckabee,
Yes.
Councilor Garlington,
Yes.
Mayor Milch.
Yes, we are adjourned at 7:38 p.m.